Ladies and gentlemen, General Milley admits that he had secret calls with generals in China. So the Wall Street Journal, Mark Milley says calls to Chinese generals were within his duties. The Hill, Milley says calls to China were perfectly within the duties of his job. Now, you have to look at this in context. If Trump didn't know about his own, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the top general or the top military leader in the country, the Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman, if he didn't know that his top military leader was communicating with China, and he didn't know the communication, the nature of the phone calls, and they were done secretly, it doesn't matter what happened on January. I know Democrats say, well, he was protecting the country. Max Boot said, oh, well, this is a good thing. We might not have generals who protect us from Trump in the future. It's like he was still president. And if you were president, just like President Obama, who only because of a Rolling Stone article, and you can look this up because, what happens 10 years ago, 5 years ago, is like ancient history in our country. It was only, in 2010 or 2011, where President Obama fired General Stanley McChrystal in the middle of a war when he was America's top general. And he did so only because of hearsay and gossip or a report that he said something derogatory about President Obama's administration, including Biden. And this was obviously off the record information if it happened at all. But General McChrystal was let go. And Wired and other publications said why Obama had to let McChrystal go. Now it's, oh, thank God General Milley saved us from Trump by informing China that Trump wasn't going to. This is like the madness. They went from Trump Russia to now Trump was going to start a nuclear confrontation and end the planet because of his personality. They truly believe this, and the only evidence they have is it's in Bob Woodward's book. So what? Where's the evidence? Where are the books about President Obama and Clinton? Well, we have book Clinton Cash. And the rebuttal is, well, where's the direct evidence? You only have circumstantial evidence with millions upon tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars going into a philanthropic organization and beneficial treatment taking place for the people who gave the money. But you know what? God forbid you make a direct correlation. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Also, hit subscribe to my newest channel, the Stock Market Crash channel. I explain why we're heading towards a catastrophe, why everything from Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will tank, unfortunately, because I respect the philosophy behind it. But the stock market is going to crash. It's going to be from derivatives trading that caused the same type of derivatives trading that caused Archegos, the hedge fund, a couple of months back to go bankrupt and led to $10 billion in losses for Credit Suisse and other banks, Nomura, other banks as well. $10 billion in 1 week because these derivatives were purchased, these contracts were bought on margin, debt that banks loaned hedge funds to engage in risky behavior. I talk about the consumer price index, the Baltic dry shipping index. That's at a high, 10, 12-year high. And we talk about every economic index that's pointing to inflation, CPI. Everything's pointing to a crash. I talk about that in the Stock Market Crash channel. And if it's, an ominous or, negative name, that's what I'll talk about some positive economic numbers also if I see any. But this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is directly related to they have to create a fantasy because the reality of what they're ignoring. See, Democrats live, when they cheated Bernie Sanders in 2016 and 2015, when they cheated him, the political paradigm in our country changed forever. Now they run purely on public relations, no policies. Nobody cares about the infrastructure bill. Nobody even believes it will. Even Democrats don't care. Nobody believes that this is going to work out. When you have Moody's and the Wharton School of Business saying it'll decrease GDP next year, which, by the way, our GDP numbers are being revised downwards. So the value of the dollar is decreasing in value. Jobs, we had jobless claims increase. We have a labor shortage. And we have a labor shortage, job openings, and more people filed for unemployment. Does that make any sense at all? And that's why they want to focus on Bob Woodward's book. You have to understand, the truth about them is suppressed by social media, Twitter especially. Anything that is contrary to the Democratic Party narrative is suppressed. They have social media algorithms going to bat for them all the time. And they have all of media. They even have Major League Baseball. Okay? It's like they have every conceivable advantage but the truth on their side. Okay? Their remedies for things don't work out. So the quantitative easing, where the Fed, purchased government debt and the money, when they say the Fed printed money, it's the QE, quantitative easing, where the Federal Reserve purchases government debt and the money is then injected into the economy. The goal is to get banks to loan money easier, more liquidity. But what's taking place is that there are supply chain issues, a labor shortage. We have jobless claims up with a labor shortage. We have every economic indicator, shipping costs, everything is going up. Inflation's going up. The only thing keeping the stock market up is corporate profits. And the consumers are willing to pay more money for goods and services because they were grounded like a parent would ground a child. They were grounded. The American people were told they couldn't leave their home and they couldn't, well, actually, there were curfews because of peaceful protests. So, yes, the American people for about a year were told they either couldn't leave their home or they couldn't work. So you have stimulus payments and you have the Fed pumping money into the economy. It did not lead to the economic rebound that should have taken place in a normal crash. Last year wasn't a normal crash, but then again, I speak about all of this on the Stock Market channel. That's below in the pinned comment. Subscribe to it. But again, this is like smoke and mirrors. This is like a sleight of hand. Democrats and media are illusionists. They want you to look over there, look at the division, look at what Bob Woodward said about Trump and what he's capable of. Nobody believes it anymore. Even Democrats, they got what they wanted. They have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and they can't do anything. They're not passing Medicare for all or Green New Deal legislation or any of those things. That is never going to happen with Democrats. This is their chance. The left has now been relegated to reading books about what Trump possibly could have done in an alternate universe where a general warned his counterparts in another country that we were going to launch a nuclear strike because Trump was upset he lost. But they believe this. They don't see the greatest jobs miss in history the other month. They don't see where analysts said we should have had 700,000 more jobs. They don't see that eventually consumers will not simply accept higher prices because they're desperate to buy things and live life again. Eventually, consumer confidence and sentiment was down today, according to the University of Michigan, lowest point since 2008. Everything is either the lowest point since 2008 or the highest point since 2008 in terms of economic indicators. Since 2008 is what you'll hear a lot. And that's why you're hearing more nonsense about generals speaking to other countries because they fear Trump. It's like, you know what? General Milley didn't warn Biden about the catastrophe that was going to happen in Afghanistan. So he should have done that instead of reading books on social theory or warning other nations about how Trump was so unpredictable. We had the Doha Agreement under Trump. We had the beginning of détente between North and South Korea. It was the first president that stepped foot in North Korea. The Abraham Accords. And in terms of foreign policy, he was amazing. So we don't need anyone, especially not General Milley, to save us from Trump. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the stock market channel. It's below in the pinned comment. Be here every day at around 6 p.m. Pacific for the live stream. Thanks, everyone.